Okay, so here we are in the final step, step 5 in your church capital campaign pre-planning checklist to help you raise the maximum funds for your church ministry. In step 4, you counted the cost. Here in step 5, you're just about ready to get your game on. Step 5 is a big part of the process and commitment to move forward. So in this campaign design, we're going to be looking at your calendar and pre-planning to get you moving forward to launch successfully a formal capital campaign. Hey, what's up? This is David Cassie. This channel is all about helping you share the vision and raising maximum funds for your project. Since you have been pre-planning, you're actually just a little bit ahead of the curve. But regarding your calendar, I want you to be thinking about this 4 to 6 months out from your capital campaign launch. You're going to need that much time if you want to put your best foot forward with confidence and excellence to move your initiative forward. Now let's talk a little bit about the timing and the rollout of your campaign. Typically for a fall campaign, I would like for people to wait till Labor Day or after so that your people are more focused on fall activities. After Labor Day is a good time to start up until Thanksgiving. I personally like to get the campaign launched before Thanksgiving, but certainly before Christmas, you need it launched and all the way through to your first fruits giving. Sometimes fall campaigns are preferred because you have the end of year giving. In fact, you have an extra end of year giving over the life of your campaign. For spring campaigns, I recommend any time after New Year's Day and also before Easter. Now, I actually would like to see you happen before Easter. However, there are a few exceptions. Do it after Easter, but certainly before graduations in the spring. Now, one thing I want to mention, don't ever launch your capital campaign on Easter Sunday. You've got your people that come maybe once a year. That's their day to show up, and you don't want that to be the day you're going to launch a big initiative asking people to give money toward big projects. It's cool that if it's discussed that day, as far as casting vision, getting people on board with it, and for them to see, wow, this church is doing some cool, fun things. Let's not be using that day for a capital campaign kickoff. So next up, I want you to start looking at your calendar dates. I want you to go through a calendar, print it out of Word or some other document where you can just look at the calendar. And I want you to start writing in important hard dates that you already know of over the next year. And this is going to be like dates you can't move, all right? Or maybe you need to know about it so that if you really need to move them, you can try to move those dates. But you want to get everything on the calendar to know what are the holidays, that you can make a good assessment about the dates available and how to maneuver in and around those dates to launch your capital campaign. Start with the hard dates and the maybe immovable dates that you already have on your calendar over the next year, and that will be your starting point. Begin putting together your capital campaign calendar. That is the biggest step to move forward with your capital campaign calendar, or you get on board a capital campaign coach. Somebody can walk you through the other steps that are going to be necessary to navigate a great calendar that's going to work for you and the best rollout for your church. Next up, I want to give you a quick rundown of a capital campaign. Also, just a couple of hints and tips about what the future looks like as you roll out your campaign. Number 1, leadership launch begins several weeks before your actual kickoff Sunday, the congregation. The public kickoff phase through the first fruits giving and celebration lasts about 6 weeks. Number 2, the long-term campaign strategy communication is very important for the success of your campaign. Very important to keep the word why before your congregation. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing it now? It needs to all be centered around and focused around the idea of life change as a result of the ministry of your church. I believe as you do that, all these other aspects and projects and things attached to this are really going to be a means to facilitate the life change ministry that's going to be happening in your church. That's what people respond to. That's how they engage. That's how they're going to connect in a way that says, yes, this is what we need to be doing. This is the vision. I want to grab a hold of it and be a part of this too. Number 3, fall campaigns are sometimes preferred over spring campaigns. Reason being that you have end of year giving patterns. Also, it's a time of year when people are feeling generous with Christmas and other holidays. Just a great time that people are wanting to connect to the value of their church, ministering to people and being a part of all that. Number 4 is the spring capital campaign. I would not rule this one out. These are awesome too. And the reason is there's spring in the air. There's a newness. There's a feeling of time to move forward. Let's think about the future. And for those reasons, I think it's a great time too. Really, honestly, you just need to look at what God's doing in your church, look at your calendar, start to formulate all the details of the plans of that, write some vision for where you're going to go, how that's going to work best for you, and then just do it. Let's talk real quick about determining the length of your campaign. Now, a lot of us have probably been through a capital campaign at some point. Traditionally, you might think that churches all do 3-year campaigns. That's not always the case. You either have smaller projects and you do a smaller giving initiative, or sometimes you have a very large campaign that will run at least 3 years. And sometimes a little bit of a break and then run some more to take care of another phase. So the idea here is that traditionally the 3-year campaign does really well. But in the last few years, maybe the last 5 years or so, that's beginning to change. The reason is that there's all kinds of things with the economic situation going on, and people are just not able to have stamina to go a full 3 years. So we need to be mindful of that. We need to be considering that campaign fatigue might be in place. Consider where your church is in giving and what has been the pattern of their giving. Maybe formulate your campaign around that, but with the option, holding it in their back pocket, that they could reignite the campaign for a final year to allow people the time to give toward and to complete their pledges that they made in the campaign. This is a great way to kind of restart the excitement, gather people into the process and the vision that maybe weren't there when it was originally cast, allow them to be a part of it as well. So there's a lot of reasons to do the 3-year as well as the 2-year. I just want you to consider what is going to be less fatigue for your congregation, giving you the option to pivot, maybe rally for a 3rd year to bring it on home. Finally, we want to talk about rallying your leadership. So you've been through the 5 steps. You've maybe even included a lot of your staff and different people as part of the process, developing your vision for your church and counting the cost, putting together a God-sized vision, and rolling this all together in a way that you can then start to present it. But you also need to bring other people into the process. Definitely rally your staff. You're going to rally your deacons or your board, and also whatever other leadership people you have on your team that might be a benefit to share this vision in advance, right? So you even may have key supporters in your church that you're going to start sharing these things with. Rally support, cast your ideas in front of them, get some feedback, and fine-tune this thing before you start launching and going toward a public phase of rolling out a formal capital campaign. It's going to get exciting. You start sharing the vision, people grab a hold of it. You're going to have questions, and you're going to be able to learn how to answer those. It's going to be an awesome time to move forward in the ministry for your church. There you go, 5 steps. Step 1, getting started, committing to a foundation of faith. Number 2, financial discipleship, talking about the difference between stewardship and generosity giving. Number 3, adopting a God-sized vision. It's got to be bigger than us. It's got to have room in there for God to do something big, right? Number 4, count the cost. We're going to have to look at the details. We're going to have to roll up our sleeves, get some numbers. We're going to have to consider all the things that it's going to take. Get architects, construction, planning for new employees or ministry objectives, things that it's going to cost to do overseas missions or community missions, things like that. Number 5, campaign design. Pulling together your calendar, rally your people, move forward, raising the maximum funds that you can for your church. Look, I have a follow-up to the series that's going to blow up your socks off. I have what I believe is the number 1 thing that is going to help you communicate your vision with clarity, with excellence, and the authority that says you've done your homework. People will respond to it with agreement, buy-in, and they're going to be pushing you along in your vision instead of you pulling it along. And that'd be great to do. If you'd like to know more about that, click or tap on the video to get started with that one now, or to watch another video out of our library here at 3 Dream Studios. I look forward to helping you share the vision in the next video.